Hi, I'm Tom from Singularity Forge. I got a Golden Demon Finalist pin for my Necronid Morlock. And today I'll be rating all of the models from the Tyranid range, specifically on their models, not on their gameplay. So our categories from the top, we've got Golden Demon entry. These are sort of the models that I would consider sort of painting up and doing for Golden Demon. And then we've got general A, B, C, sort of working down. We've got legacy sort of levels, so these are sort of like old models, but like worth noting. Fine Cast, which are the nice Forge World and resin ones, and we've got the Beep Cast, which are the less good ones. First up we have the Broodlord, which was actually the first Necronid model that I made. But obviously we're not talking about that one, we're talking about the Tyranid model. I really like this model. I probably wouldn't do it for a Golden Demon, but maybe in like a duel it would be quite cool, with that sort of menacing pose over it. I've thought about using this model in a diorama before, from the Warhammer TV show Blood and Death or something, I can't remember what it's called now, where he's sort of like the statue ready to wake up. I'm gonna put this in A, I think. I think it's a very good model. I think it still stands up. I quite like the Patriarch model as well. I feel like these two are kind of fairly interchangeable. It just sort of depends whether you want that Tyranid scenery or if you want like the pipes and stuff scenery, which could work quite well with the new Death Leaper model. Next up we've got the old Carnifex Brood. Quite an old kit. I really like it. I kind of hope that they do like a new one. The main problem I've got with this kit is that there's only kind of one posability for it, unless you sort of convert it yourself. I've recently got the Brood. I have sort of cut apart the top and bottom. I was trying to do sort of maybe a bigger, more intimidating pose standing up over something, and that'd be like my old one eye. But it's still in the progress. Now I'm gonna put these Carnifexes in the B tier. So next up we have the Exocrine. This is also a joint kit with the Horror Specs. It's quite popular at the moment. Both of these models are very high use in the games, but at like 50 quid a model it's kind of pricey, and I think they're GW directly, so I do like the model. I haven't used it for either of mine. I've used the Tyranid Screamer Killer base model and converted those into being my Horror Specs and my Exocrine with joints from like the Psychophage and things. But I do quite like the models and I would like to get my hands on them at some point. I think I'll put these in B tier for now. Next up we have the Gargoyles. These are like the only sort of troop choice and sort of swarm unit that didn't get updated with the 10th edition, which is a bit of a shame, as I feel like they could really done with one. They're going to go C tier because they're a bit old. They're quite top heavy. They use the flying bases, which like crack. I'm not really a fan of having like a giant flying base because there's cleverer ways of doing it with plants and beams sticking up, flying off them. The Gene Sealer kit, the new one, is beautiful. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's at least an A tier, I think. I'm really a big fan that you can have a full option of the kitting out with the Umgal faces, the kind of ood looking faces with or slightly oody, lictory style faces. That really sort of fits in my scheme, so when I do some, I'm going to do them with those heads. Next we've got the Harpy and the Hive Crone. So I haven't got like much personal experience with these kits, but again, so they are one of those sort of big flyers. I don't really like the big flying stand. The possibilities for them is quite high, but their base model's quite low. They can go top of B for now. Top of B. Next we've got the big daddy of the flyers. We've got the Harridan. So this thing with like the Forge World Tyranids compared to like Games Workshop Tyranids. They've got quite a different aesthetic thanks to like the resin. They've got sort of, you know, more ridges in the armour and sort of more holes in like chitin and the chimney stack. I do really like it, but I feel like it contrasts quite a bit when you've got them in an army, so I feel like they're more standalone pieces in a collection. But of the models, I do think he's more of a fine cast than a cast. Now, I really do like the Tyrant Guard and Hive Guard kits. I feel like they've got a really cool presence with the sort of like the forearms like leaning down, and then they've got their basically extra arms doing. I really like the sort of the carapace coming kind of over the top of the head. We'll go with bottom of A. So next up is the Hive Tyrants, the different ones. So we've got the Flying one, the Swarm Lord, and just the regular Hive Tyrant. The kit's fantastic. You got a lot of sort of variability there and things, and there's been loads of conversions with Hive Tyrants over the years. You get 2 tails. You almost get enough to like make 2. So I really do rate the kit. It'd be quite cool to see like a new version of it, like maybe a bit bigger. It's like so in game it's like almost like a 300-point model. This model doesn't quite have that presence. If they did like a non-emissary size version of a Swarm Lord, that'd be really cool. I was kind of hoping that would be like a third option with the emissary. Put it behind the Gene Stealers. Alright, so next up is Hormagaunts. Now these guys are beautiful. I've done one of the new Hormagaunts. It was like the free one, and they're a lot better weighted. Our problems with like the old like gaunts and things was that they'd like fall over, but the new ones, they've got such sort of like good poses. They're a bit more like upright, and they're less long, more sort of so you can properly swarm them together. I think they are great models. And to be honest, if I was going to do like a bit of a swarmy Tyranid diorama, they probably would be the ones to use, just because they're like the melee variant. They kind of get in up close. We'll put them in Golden Demon entry for now, because I do really like the models. I think they're really cool, but they'll probably be the bottom of that. So next up we've got the Malanthrope. I think it's a really cool model. It was a really cool model. It's now a legacy model, so you're probably going to struggle trying to get it an official one anywhere. I mean, so it's going to go in the legacy category, but I feel like if you wanted to make a new one, your best shot would be sort of using the Trigon tail and then maybe the Mala Scepter sort of top part on it. And so the next one is the Stone Crusher Carnifex. I don't think it's still available. I think it's this is probably my favourite sort of variant of the Carnifex. So it's a legacy model. But yeah, like I said, it's my favourite legacy, so it's going at the top of legacy. So next up we have the Malaceptor, which is a joint kit with the Toxicrene. The Malaceptor I really like. I think it's a very cool kit. I also really like the Toxicrene, but it's got a lot of problems with it. It's the massive sort of tentacles that come out of the arms on the Toxicrene kit just make it sort of like a bit of a pain to put anywhere, to place anywhere. I'm going to put him below the Hive Tyrants, but above the Guard, I reckon, for the Malaceptor. And then we're going to put the Toxicrene into C. Next is one of my favourite of the kits, is the Morlock, Trigons, etc. This one's the Morlock, so that's obviously the one that I made a Necron version for Golden Demon. I just think it's like a massive model. It's like as big as the Norn, with an older one, so you might be able to get it fairly cheap on eBay and things. It would be nice to see kind of a new version of it, seeing as that you can run up to effectively like 6 of these models and they've got like one pose. Getting different sort of tail options would be quite cool. He's going in A. The next one is Old One Eye, so he'll just go with the other Carnifex in the middle of B. He's just got an extra cool face, but he's in the same kit, so it's all together. The Forge World Hierodules. I think I do prefer the Barbed Hierodule, but again, so they've kind of got this. They suffer a bit from the sort of the Forge World aesthetic. Their eyes are like in their carapace bit, and it's got like basically 2 ridges rather than like sort of a central ridge. I would say it's a fine cast, not as nice as the Harridan. Is the Ravener Brood. Now these guys are quite old, quite dated, I feel. They could have really done with updating the Warrior and Ravener kits. I do feel it's quite dated, but they're not too bad. I reckon bottom of B. Now the Red Terror is a cool idea, but I think the model is quite... Put him in the cast, yeah, because he is just bad. I know he's legacy, but I don't think he's worth getting out. Maybe if you're a collector. Next up we've got just Spore Mines. Do they still sell the Spore Mines individually? I don't think they do. So I think they're legacy. They're kind of cool, quite expensive, but it's probably best to get these like 3D printed. So you can go at the bottom of legacy. Forge World Ripper Swarms. They're quite cool, but again, I think they're legacy now. But I feel like you're better off using sort of your regular your regular sort of Ripper swarms that come in your Termagant kits and your Hormigaunt kits. They're not hard to get either, they're super easy. They can go above the spores but below the Malanthropian Legacy. Yeah, I think that's quite cool, and I think that the idea of them would be quite cool to do. If you want to do like a really small diorama, just do a load of those. Sporocyte, I think. I think it's an okay kit, but it feels much more like a scenery piece kit, and like you'd use the bits from it to make other cool things. I mean, the model itself I think is quite low, but the kit's fairly useful. In the middle of C, I think, so... actually no, probably put it at the bottom of C. Termagants, they're very nice, they come in multitudes, but I think they're kind of middle of the road. But they are a newer sculpt, so we're going to put them above the Carnifexes in B. Oh dear. Oh dearie dearie me. Now we have the old Pyrovore kit, which isn't too bad actually. It's a lot better than the old Biovore kit. This one can go at the top of cast, I think. Speed round. Alright, Tervagun Tyranifex. Very cool model. I like the Termagants bursting out of it. I feel like it's got a lot of use. It's got spare things. So we're going in B. Oh wait, no, that's the Stonecrusher Carnifex. That one's going above it. The Trigon, that's going with the Morlock. Tyranid Warriors, they're going to go just above the Raveners. The Tyrannocyte, so that's going to go with the Sporocyte, but it's going to go slightly above. Tyranifex, that's going with the Tervagon. Sky Ripper Swarm, so those are legacy. Venomthropes, can go on the bottom of B. Neurothropes B. Parasite of Mortex, this is a really cool model. It's got quite a cool pose. It's quite small. I think this is definitely a Golden Demon sort of good model to do for Golden Demon. It's got a lot of sort of like going on in it. It's very creepy. The Massive Hierophant, second in the Finecast. Scythed Hierodule, bottom of Finecast. Now we have the best Tyranid model ever made, which was the Resin Finecast Biovore. Ooh, good. This is so good. There we go. Now you have the old Death Leaper. It's an alright model, but when compared to like the new one, it just doesn't stand up. I think it's below the Sky Slasher Swarms. Now the Norns, beautiful models. They are Golden Demon worthy. That's where they're, you know, it's the standout model in the range. The thing I sort of try and sort out is the tail. It sticks out a lot out of the back of the model. I'd have it coming sort of more curved round, so it's got more of a central, it's well grounded central. Next up we have the Pyrovore Biovore kit, which I think is a fantastic kit. Got one myself there. So I've modded mine slightly to have the Biovore cannon sort of pointing up like artillery, and I've given him back legs that are like the warrior legs rather than the sort of spider legs. I mean, I think the kit's still great, and if you want to go down that sort of spider sort of theme like that with the Psychophage and things, I think it's a very cool idea. Below the Hive Tyrants in A is where I'd put them. I think the forward-facing cannon works better for Pyrovore than it does for the Biovore. So the Pyrovore, that's going, I'm going to say it's going above the Biovore. I think it's quite a cool model. I like the big sort of tail behind it. The Death Leaper, now that is going, ooh, is that better than the Norn? It's in the Golden Demon entry. I think it's just below the Norn. I'm a big fan of bigger monsters, but that it's a fantastic model. And personally, I'm a big fan of the Flesh Skirt. I feel like it looks very cool. All right, next up we have the Dimacheiron, which is a very cool Legacy model. I am going to put him second in Legacy, so he's better than the Whipping Stonecrusher, but not as cool as the big clawed one. That's just personal preference. I think that Carnifex is just very cool. We've got the Neurolictor next. Well, we've all seen the memes about this one. Maybe you haven't. For the Neurolictor, yeah, I really like it. I think it's quite a cool one. I'm not so sure on the head, actually. I feel like the brain would have been better underneath rather than sort of poking out at the top. I'm going to put them in the bottom of A, I think. Now, these are the old Resin Spore Mines. Where are the other ones? Yeah, I think you can just go in the other Legacy with the other Spore Mines, kind of at the bottom. You only get 3 of them. They kind of just, yeah, they're just a bit meh. Now, the Lictor model is fantastic. It's got 3 poses. It's got, like, You can change the poses of all his pincers and everything. He is. I think he's a golden demon as well. In terms of the flexibility, I think he might even be better than the Death Leaper. I think I prefer the Death Leaper model, but he's got more flexibility, so you can do more things with him. I think the flexibility of the Lictor is just what gives its edge over the Death Leaper. The Death Leaper is a better model by itself, but the Lictor just got all of that flexibility. Potentially, if you had both of them, you could do a good mash between them and get that sort of flexibility and like all the cool things that the Death Leaper brings. And if you're doing it for a Golden Demon entry, I feel like you can splash a bit more on it because you're spending so much time on it anyway. Next up, we've got the Barb Gaunts. Now, I love these. I feel like they look so cool. The Barb Gaunts, I think they're fantastic. I'm going to put them third from the top in A. And these are the Von Ryan's Leapers. Okay, these guys are going in. Actually, they're going to go above the Hormagaunts in Golden Demon entry. I think these guys would be like the best sort of guys to do for like a squad entry. If you want to do Tyranids as a squad entry in Golden Demon, they're so dynamic. They got like they're packed with details. They're gorgeous models. I think if you spent your time on them, you can make them look really, really good. The Psychophage, I think, has the best head of the new range. I've used it numerous times. I feel like it's got a really cool aesthetic if you wanted to sort of build your entire sort of Tyranid army sort of around that aesthetic, like that and the Biovores. I'm going to put him above the Neurolictor in A. He's been super cheap on eBay, so I've been using him just for bits. It's been pretty good. The Winged Prime is the guy we saw in the cinematic. Very cool looking. Everyone thinks that the wings should probably go above the size, and I think I agree. But that's an easy fix to make. So I don't think there's anything really wrong with the model. But I think you can go above the Carnifexes in B. We've got a Lictor. We've got the old Fighting Cast Lictor. I reckon he can go above the Sky Slasher Swarms. I reckon he's slightly better. There we go. It's a kit that contains sort of two different units in. You get to build both of them. So it's the Screamer Killer Carnifex and then the Neurotyrant. I think they're both fantastic. I think they've got a lot of conversion potential. I've used 3 of the Screamer Killer Carnifexes so far in conversions, 2 for Horospexes and 1 for a Exocrine. My main problem is that I feel like the head's a bit goofy on the Screamer Killer, but with a bit of, sort of conversion work here, I feel like you can make it look really nice. I'm going to put it below the Biovores and Pyrovores. There we go. Overall, that's my ratings for the Tyranid. Any last minute changes? I'll move the Barb Gaunts down a bit. They can go the other side of the Gene Stealers. I'm going to keep it mostly how it is. I'm sure people will disagree with me. Tell me what I've got so wrong anyway in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, if you want to see more stuff like this, like and subscribe. If you don't want to see this, then like and subscribe anyway, because I will find you and I will harvest your biomass. It's been Singularity Forge. Take my balls and subscribe.